The crystal vase shattered against the wall, exploding into 1,000 glittering pieces. Divine A Junkie stood in the center of the penthouse living room, chest heaving, tears streaming down her dark skin as she grabbed another decorative piece from the shelf. Liar! She screamed into the empty space. Thief! You stole my mother's life. The office door flew open. Lee Kong-soo emerged for the first time in 3 weeks, his shoulder-length black hair loose around his face, eyes wide with something that might have been shock. Might have been concern. Divine couldn't tell anymore. She couldn't tell anything through the rage and heartbreak choking her. What's happening? His voice was rough from disuse, the Korean accent thick. Divine whirled on him, another vase clutched in her shaking hands. Everything is a lie. My mother is dying in Lagos and the man I trusted stole everything in you. Her voice cracked. You won't even look at me. The vase slipped from her fingers, hitting the ground with a hollow thud. Divine's knees buckled. She sank onto the imported rug, surrounded by broken glass and shattered dreams, and finally let herself break completely. Am I invisible? The words came out as a whisper. Am I not woman enough? I crossed an ocean for money that never came. I'm trapped here with a man who treats me like a ghost while my mother fights for her life, and I can't even save her because I was stupid enough to trust. Her voice gave out entirely. The sobs took over, raw and ugly and real. Through her tears, she saw expensive leather shoes appear in her line of vision. Hong-soo knelt in the broken glass, not even flinching when the shards cut through his designer pants into his knees. Your agent stole from you? His voice was quieter now, dangerous in its controlled calm. Divine laughed bitterly. He's not an agent. He's a thief. And I'm a fool who believed in love. She looked up at him through wet lashes. Just like I believed this contract was real. That the money would save my family. That maybe, just maybe, I'd matter to someone again. Something flickered across Kong-soo's face. The mask cracked, just for a moment, and Divine glimpsed the man underneath. Wounded. Haunted. Alive. Tell me his name, Kong-soo said. What? The man who hurt you. Tell me his name. But to understand how Divine A Junkie ended up on a penthouse floor in Seoul, begging a Korean stranger for help, you have to go back 6 weeks. Back to Lagos. Back to when her world first started falling apart. Divine had been dancing in the kitchen of Mama Blessing's Bukka, her mother's restaurant in Surulere, when the call came. The small establishment was packed as usual, customers waiting for Divine's famous moi moi and jollof rice. Afrobeats pumped through the speakers as she moved between pots, her long locks swaying with each step, her curves hugging the Ankara dress she wore for work. Sister. Phone. Her younger sister Chioma burst through the kitchen door, face pale, hands trembling as she held out the mobile. It's the hospital. The wooden spoon fell from Divine's hand. She knew. Before the doctor even spoke, she knew. Stage 5 kidney failure. Your mother needs a transplant immediately. The cost is 30 million naira. Divine's vision blurred. 30 million. They had 147,000 in the bank. Their family home in Yaba was already mortgaged for 5 million to keep the restaurant running during the last fuel crisis. She had 72 hours to find 30 million naira or plan her mother's funeral. That night, Kingsley Okonkwo found her crying in his car outside Eco Hotel. He smelled like expensive cologne and wore designer everything, his gold chain catching the streetlights as he pulled her close. Baby, stop crying. I have a solution. Divine lifted her head from his chest. Kingsley, there's no solution. It's 30 million. My uncle in Seoul needs a wife. Contract marriage. 1 year. $500,000. Divine's breath caught. $500,000. That was over 200 million naira at the current exchange rate. More than enough for her mother's surgery, to save the house, to secure her family's future. What do I have to do? Kingsley smiled. Just marry a Korean man. Live with him for 1 year. Come back rich. Simple. Her phone buzzed. A text from Chioma. Mama stopped breathing twice today. Please, sister. We're losing her. Divine's hands shook as she signed the contract Kingsley produced from his glove compartment. She didn't read it carefully. Didn't ask questions. Didn't think beyond the image of her mother's face, tubes and wires keeping her alive in that sterile hospital room. Uncle transferred the first half already. Kingsley said 3 days later at the airport, kissing her forehead. 250,000. I'll use it for your mama's surgery. I'll handle everything. I love you, baby. Divine boarded the plane to Seoul believing him. The flight was 16 hours. Divine spent most of it staring out the window, watching Lagos disappear beneath clouds, wondering what kind of man she'd just married sight unseen. Kingsley said his uncle's family was wealthy. Important. that they needed someone exotic and beautiful for their son's image. She'd looked up Korean Mafia families on the plane's Wi-Fi, found nothing about any Lees needing foreign wives. But desperation makes people believe impossible things. Incheon Airport was overwhelming. Everything was in Korean and English, the crowds moving with practiced efficiency. Divine stood near baggage claim in her best Ankara outfit, her single suitcase at her feet, looking for someone holding her name. Instead, she found a woman in all black holding a sign that read Mrs. Lee. "I'm Divine A. Junk. You're Mrs. Lee now." The woman was petite but fierce, her eyes sharp behind designer sunglasses. "I'm Baek Jiwoo. Let's go." The black Mercedes ride through Seoul felt like entering another dimension. Neon signs in Hangul, skyscrapers that seemed to touch the sky, streets so clean Divine wondered if they polished them daily. K-pop played softly through the speakers. Jiwoo remained silent despite Divine's attempts at conversation. "So what's my husband like?" "You'll see." The penthouse was in Hanamdong, one of Seoul's most exclusive neighborhoods. 70th floor. The elevator opened directly into the apartment. Divine stepped out, pulling her worn suitcase behind her, and stopped breathing. The space was massive, modern, cold. Everything was black and white and chrome, minimal furniture, art on the walls that probably cost more than her family's restaurant. The entire far wall was glass, revealing Seoul's glittering skyline. And there, standing at that window with his back to her, was Lee Kong-soo. Even from behind, he was beautiful, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing all black. His hair fell past his shoulders, ink-dark and straight. When he shifted, Divine caught a glimpse of tattoos crawling up his neck. Hello?" Her voice sounded small in the vast space. "I'm Divine. You're..." He walked away, into a side office. The door closed with a soft click. Divine stood there, hands still raised in greeting, mouth open in shock. Jiwoo set her suitcase down. "Welcome to your new life, Mrs. Lee. Your room is down the hall. Second door. Don't bother boss unless it's an emergency. But I'm his wife. Shouldn't we? This is a contract, not a romance. The sooner you understand that, the easier this year will be." Jiwoo left. Divine was alone in the cold penthouse with a husband who couldn't even look at her. That first night, she unpacked in silence. The bedroom was large and impersonal, like a hotel suite. She tried calling Kingsley, but he didn't answer. Tried Chioma. No response. Checked her phone obsessively for updates about her mother's surgery. Nothing. The next morning, Jiwoo arrived at dawn with a schedule. Registry wedding at 9. Simple ceremony, no guests, just paperwork. Divine wore a white dress she'd bought at Balagan Market in Lagos. Kong-soo wore a black suit and sunglasses that hid his eyes. The courthouse was sterile and quick. They sat at opposite ends of a table while an official spoke in Korean. Jiwoo translated the important parts. "Sign here. And here. Congratulations, you're married." Kong-soo signed without reading. Didn't look at Divine once. When the official suggested a photo, he was already walking toward the exit. No kiss. No ring exchange. No acknowledgement that Divine existed. Back at the penthouse, Divine decided to do what she did best. Cook. She found the kitchen pristine and barely used. Opened the massive refrigerator to find it stocked with ingredients she didn't recognize. But she'd brought some things from home. Bams for moi moi. Dried peppers. Palm oil. She'd make him taste home. Make him see her. She spent hours preparing the perfect meal. Moi moi with a Korean twist, adding gochagaru for heat. Jollof rice with sesame oil. Egusi soup blended with perilla leaves. She set the table beautifully, mixing Nigerian and Korean aesthetics. Kong-soo emerged from his office at exactly 7. Divine watched him take in the spread, something unreadable crossing his features. Then he loaded a plate and carried it back to his office without a word. The door closed again. Divine sat alone at the table she'd decorated with such hope and ate jollof rice while tears salted every bite. The pattern continued. Every day, Divine cooked. Every day, Kong-soo took his food and disappeared. Sometimes the plates came back empty. Sometimes they appeared washed in the sink the next morning. But he never said thank you. Never stayed. Never acknowledged her effort. On day 7, she left Egusi soup outside his bedroom door before dawn, hoping he'd at least smell it and remember someone cared. The bowl was gone by noon. No note. No comment. Nothing. Divine called Kingsley that night, desperate to hear a familiar voice. "Baby, how's Seoul?" He sounded distracted, music thumping in the background. "It's hard. He won't even talk to me." "How's Mama? Did the surgery happen?" "Ah, yes. The surgery went well. Your Mama is recovering. The doctors say she's doing fine." Relief flooded through her. Can I talk to her? To Chioma? They're sleeping now. Time difference, you know? I'll tell them to call you tomorrow. Kingsley, I miss you. This is harder than I thought. Just 1 year, baby. Then you come home rich and we get married properly. I have to go. Love you. He hung up before she could respond. Divine tried to busy herself exploring Seoul. Jiwoo took her shopping in Myeongdong to cafes in Hongdae, showed her how to navigate the subway. But every night she came back to the silent penthouse and the husband who treated her like furniture. On day 10, Divine decided to try a different approach. She dressed carefully in her finest Ankara gown, the purple and gold one her mother had sewn for her 25th birthday. Did her makeup. Braided her locks in an intricate Fulani style with gold beads that caught the light. Sprayed her grandmother's perfume on her wrists. She positioned herself in the living room where Kong-soo would have to pass her to reach the elevator. 6 p.m. He emerged from his office in a suit, phone to his ear, speaking rapid Korean. He walked right past her without breaking stride. Didn't even glance in her direction. Divine sat there until midnight, gold beads clicking softly as she finally moved. She went to her room and cried into her pillow, muffling the sounds so Jiwoo wouldn't hear from the staff quarters. The next morning, she found Jiwoo in the kitchen making coffee. Does he hate black women? Divine asked without preamble. Is that it? Or is he gay? I read that some Korean men. It's not you. Jiwoo's voice was softer than usual. Boss hasn't touched anyone since she died. Divine's stomach dropped. Jiwoo hesitated, then sighed. Yoon Seo-yeon. They were engaged 3 years ago. She died in Boss's arms during a gang ambush. Bullet meant for him hit her instead. The kitchen tilted. Divine gripped the counter. He watched her bleed out on the street. Jiwoo continued quietly. Couldn't save her. Hasn't been the same since. Won't let anyone close. Barely speaks. It's not about you being black or beautiful or anything else. He's locked himself away from everyone. Why did his father arrange this marriage then? Boss's father thinks a wife will bring him back to life. Make him human again. Jiwoo poured 2 cups of coffee, handed one to Divine. But you can't force someone to heal. Divine wrapped her hands around the warm mug. So I'm just supposed to be invisible for a year? Live like a ghost in his ghost house? I don't know. But I know Boss isn't cruel. He's just broken. That night, Divine tried calling Kingsley again. It rang once, then went to voicemail. She tried Chioma. Same thing. A cold feeling settled in her stomach. She tried again the next day. And the next. By week 4, Kingsley wasn't picking up at all. Divine found Jiwoo in her office, going through paperwork. Can I ask you something? Jiwoo looked up. Depends on the question. The contract money. The $500,000. Who paid it? When? Jiwoo frowned. Boss's father paid the full amount 6 weeks ago. Wire transfer to the account your agent provided. Why? The office spun. Divine's legs gave out. She sat down hard on the leather chair. 6 weeks ago? Yes. Is there a problem? Divine's hands shook as she pulled out her phone. 6 weeks. Her mother should have had surgery 5 weeks ago. Should be recovering. Chioma should have called. Kingsley should have sent updates. She video called Chioma, praying for the connection to work. It rang. And rang. Finally, her sister's face appeared on the screen. Divine's heart stopped. Chioma was skeletal. Her cheekbones jutted out sharply, her eyes sunken and red-rimmed. Behind her, their family home looked different. Empty. Furniture missing. Sister. Chioma's voice was barely a whisper. You're calling. What happened to you? Where's Mama? Tears filled Chioma's eyes. We had to take her off dialysis 2 weeks ago. The hospital said without payment, they can't continue treatment. They gave us until Friday to pay 5 million naira, or they'll stop everything. Divine couldn't breathe. But the money. Kingsley said he paid for the surgery. He said Mama was recovering. We never got any money, Divine. Kingsley disappeared. Changed his number. We went to his house in Lekki and strangers were living there. He bought a new car, a new apartment. He's been posting on Instagram from clubs. Chioma's voice broke. We thought you knew. Thought you were part of it. Part of what? The scam. To get the Korean family's money. The phone slipped from Divine's fingers, clattering on the desk. She stood up, stumbled backward. The room was too small. The air was too thin. No. No. She grabbed the decorative vase from Jiwoo's shelf and hurled it at the wall. It exploded in a satisfying crash. She grabbed another. And another. Screaming with each throw. Liar. Thief. Which is how she ended up on the living room floor 30 minutes later, surrounded by broken glass, with Kong-soo kneeling in front of her asking for the name of the man who destroyed her world. Divine looked up at him through tears. Really looked at him for the first time. His eyes were dark brown, almost black, with shadows underneath that spoke of sleepless nights. A small scar cut through his left eyebrow. His jaw was clenched tight, but his hands were gentle as they hovered near her, not quite touching but close enough to catch her if she fell apart completely. Kingsley Okonkwo, she whispered. Lagos, Nigeria. He took everything. My mother is dying and he's buying cars and clubbing and I can't save her. I can't do anything. I'm useless. Kangsu stood abruptly, pulled out his phone and spoke in rapid Korean, his voice sharp and commanding. Divine caught words that sounded like orders, like violence barely contained. He made 3 more calls, each one shorter and more intense than the last. Finally, he looked down at her. Stand up. What? Stand up, Divine. She did, legs shaky. Glass crunched under her feet. Your mother. Which hospital? Eco Hospital. Lagos. But it's done. What's done? He turned his phone screen toward her. A banking app showed a completed transaction. $600,000 transferred to an account labeled Blessing, a junkie medical fund. Divine's knees buckled again. Kangsu caught her this time, his hands firm on her shoulders. It was the first time he'd touched her. His palms were warm through her thin shirt. That's more than the contract, she breathed. Interest. For your pain. I don't understand. You won't speak to me. Won't look at me. But you saved my mother? His hands dropped. He stepped back, creating distance again. Because I know what it's like to watch someone you love die. If I can stop that for you, I will. He turned toward his office. Wait. Divine's voice came out stronger now. Why won't you touch me? Kangsu stopped. His shoulders tensed. You should rest. I've been resting for a month. I've been invisible for a month. Answer the question. Why won't you touch me? Divine. Is it because of her? Seo Yun? He flinched like she'd struck him. Jiwoo talks too much. Jiwoo cares about you. So answer me. Why? Because everyone I touch dies. His voice was raw. My mother. Seo Yun. I'm poison, Divine. The smart thing would be to stay away from me. What if I don't want to be smart? He finally turned to face her fully. Then you're a fool. Maybe. But I'm a fool who just watched her husband save her mother's life. A fool who cooks for a ghost every night hoping he'll taste it and remember he's alive. A fool who traveled across the world because she trusted the wrong man. But maybe, her voice caught. Maybe I ended up exactly where I needed to be. Something cracked in Kangsu's expression. Pain. Longing. Fear. You don't know what you're saying. Then help me understand. Talk to me. Please. I'm so tired of silence. For a long moment, he just stared at her. Then he spoke, and his voice was barely above a whisper. 2 a.m. If you still want answers, find me on the balcony. He disappeared into his office, leaving Divine standing in broken glass and tentative hope. Divine couldn't sleep. She lay in her bed watching the digital clock tick toward 2 a.m., her heart hammering against her ribs. At 1:45, she gave up pretending and went to the bathroom. Washed her face. Stared at herself in the mirror. Her locks were messy from tossing and turning. Dark circles shadowed her eyes. She looked exhausted and desperate, and nothing like the confident woman who'd left Lagos a month ago. But her mother was alive. The money had transferred. Chioma had called back an hour ago, crying with relief, saying the hospital had confirmed payment and scheduled emergency surgery for tomorrow morning Lagos time. Kangsu had done that. The man who wouldn't speak to her had saved the person she loved most in the world. At 1:58, Divine wrapped herself in a silk robe and padded barefoot through the dark penthouse. The balcony was accessible through the living room, a space she'd never seen Kangsu use. She slid open the glass door. He stood at the railing, back to her, hair loose and moving in the night breeze. Souls spread out below them like a sea of lights. The air was cool, carrying the faint scent of rain. I wasn't sure you'd come, he said without turning. I wasn't sure you'd actually be here. Divine stepped closer, hugging herself against the chill. You're good at disappearing. I've had practice. He pulled something from his pocket. A bottle of whiskey and 2 glasses. Poured amber liquid into both and handed her one. You'll want this for the story. Divine took the glass. Their fingers brushed. Kangsu pulled back like he'd been burned. Jiwoo told me about Seo Yun, Divine said quietly. I'm sorry you lost her. I didn't lose her. He downed his whiskey in one swallow. I killed her. The ambush wasn't your fault. Wasn't it? He turned to face her finally, and in the dim light from the city below, she could see the self-hatred carved into his features. I knew the risks. Knew that loving me made her a target. Knew that my enemies would use anyone I cared about to get to me. But I was selfish. I wanted her anyway. Divine sipped her whiskey, letting the burn ground her. What happened? We were leaving a restaurant in Gangnam. Our engagement dinner. She was laughing about something, I don't even remember what. Then I saw the car. Black sedan. Windows down. His voice went flat, emotionless. The way people sound when they've told a story, so many times it's lost all meaning. I tried to push her down. Tried to cover her. But the bullet found her anyway. Right here. He touched his chest, just left of center. She looked at me. Said my name. And then she was gone. Just like that. For seconds and she was gone. Divine's throat tightened. Kongsu. Her brother set it up. Her own blood. He owed money to a rival gang. Thought if I died, he'd inherit her share of her family's business. He knew our schedule. Knew where we'd be. Kongsu laughed bitterly. Everyone I love either dies or betrays me. My mother died giving birth to me. Seoyeon died because I loved her. So I stopped. Stopped talking. Stopped touching. Stopped feeling anything at all. That's not living. That's just existing. It's safer. Divine set down her glass and moved closer. Close enough to feel the heat radiating from his body. Safer for who? Them or you? Does it matter? Yes. Because you saved my mother today. You mobilized your entire organization to find Kingsley. You transferred more money than the contract required. Those aren't the actions of a man who stopped feeling. Kongsu's jaw clenched. That's different. How? Because you're temporary. 1 year and you'll go back to Lagos. Back to your life. Safe from me. What if I don't want to be safe? The words tumbled out before Divine could stop them. What if I want to be seen? Known? What if I'm tired of being a ghost in your house? You should want safety. You should run from me. I crossed an ocean because I trusted a liar. Lost everything because I believed in love. My mother almost died because I was naive enough to think Kingsley cared about me. Divine's voice shook, but she didn't look away. I've already been destroyed, Kongsu. By someone who smiled while he did it. So if you're worried about hurting me, you're 3 weeks too late. His hands gripped the railing so hard his knuckles went white. I'm not Kingsley. I know. Kingsley was warm and charming and told me everything I wanted to hear. He touched me all the time. Kissed me. Said he loved me. She stepped closer still, until there was barely air between them. And it was all lies. But you ignore me. Hide from me. Won't even look at me. And somehow you're the one who saved my life. Divine don't. Don't what? Don't see you? Too late. Don't want you? Already do. Don't ask for more than you can give? She reached up and touched his face, her palm against his cheek. He jerked like she'd electrocuted him but didn't pull away. I'm not asking you to love me, Kongsu. I'm asking you to let me exist. To acknowledge that I'm here. That I'm real. His breathing had gone ragged. If I let you in, if I touch you, you'll what? Kill me? I'm already dying of loneliness in your beautiful prison. You deserve better than me. Maybe. But you're what I have. And I'm what you have. So can we at least try to be human together? For a long moment, they stood frozen. Divine's hand on his face. His eyes closed. The city breathing around them. Then Kongsu's hand came up and covered hers. His fingers were calloused and warm and trembling slightly. I don't know how to do this anymore, he whispered. Don't know how to let someone close without destroying them. Then we'll figure it out together. But Kongsu? Divine waited until he opened his eyes. I'm not Seoyeon. I'm not fragile. I'm a Nigerian woman who survived Lagos traffic, Kingsley's betrayal, and a month of your silence. I'm stronger than you think. A ghost of a smile touched his lips. You cook like you're trying to heal the world. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm trying to heal you. That's a dangerous project. Good thing I like danger. This time when he smiled, it was real. Small and broken but real. You're insane. Probably. Is that a problem? It should be. His thumb traced across her knuckles. But somehow it's not. They stood like that, hands joined, until the sky began to lighten in the east. Divine shivered in the pre-dawn chill, and Kongsu finally moved, shrugging off his jacket and draping it over her shoulders. It smelled like him. Expensive cologne and something darker. Something uniquely his. Thank you, she said. For everything. For my mother. For Kingsley. For this. Don't thank me yet. Kingsley is still out there. What did you do? Called some contacts in Lagos. They found him at Quillock's nightclub in Victoria Island, drunk and bragging about his Korean connection. Kongsu's expression hardened. He's been posting on Instagram. New car. New apartment in Lucky. New girlfriend. Living off your pain. Divine's stomach churned. I loved him. For 2 years, I thought he was the one. He's a parasite. And parasites don't stop until they're removed. Kong-soo pulled out his phone, showed her a video. Kingsley in a club, champagne bottle in hand, laughing. The caption read, "When your Korean plug comes through." Half a milli baby. Rage burned through Divine's grief. He's celebrating. While my mother was dying, he was celebrating. My men have eyes on him. When you're ready, I can make him disappear. Permanently. Divine looked at Kong-soo sharply. You mean kill him? I mean make him wish he'd never heard your name. No. No killing. Divine's voice was firm despite the anger coursing through her. I want him arrested. Prosecuted. I want him to face what he did legally. That could take months. Years even. I don't care. I won't become like him. Won't let revenge make me a monster. Something shifted in Kong-soo's eyes. Respect, maybe. Or surprise. You're very different from the people in my world. Is that bad? No. It's terrifying and strange, and he paused. Refreshing. They went inside as the sun crusted the horizon, soul transforming from shadow to gold. Divine made coffee while Kong-soo sat at the kitchen counter, watching her move through the space like it was the most fascinating thing he'd ever seen. You never eat breakfast, Divine observed, pulling ingredients from the refrigerator. I'm usually working. You're always working. When do you sleep? When I can't avoid it anymore. Divine cracked eggs into a bowl. That's not healthy. Nothing about my life is healthy. Then let's start small. One breakfast. Together. Can you do that? Kong-soo hesitated, then nodded. One breakfast. Divine made akara and bread, the familiar motions soothing her frayed nerves. She could feel his eyes on her the entire time. Not cold anymore. Not distant. Just watching. Present. When she set the plate in front of him, their fingers brushed again. This time, neither of them pulled away. What is this? He asked, poking at the golden fritters. Akara. Nigerian bean cakes. Try it. He took a cautious bite. His eyes widened. This is incredible. Don't sound so surprised. I told you I can cook. You didn't tell me you were a magician. He took another bite, then another, eating with a genuine appetite Divine had never seen from him before. Where did you learn? My mother. She taught me everything. Said food is how Yoruba women show love. Divine sat across from him with her own plate. Every dish tells a story. This one is about new beginnings. Taking something simple and transforming it into something beautiful. Is that what you're trying to do with me? Transform me? No. I'm trying to remind you that you're already beautiful. You've just forgotten. Kong-soo set down his fork and looked at her fully. You've been here a month and you think you know me? I know you save people you don't have to save. I know you feel guilty for things that aren't your fault. I know you're lonely even though you pretend you want to be alone. Divine met his gaze steadily. And I know that somewhere under all that ice, there's a man who still knows how to care. You just don't trust yourself anymore. You're right. I don't. Then trust me instead. Just for today. Can you do that? He considered this for a long moment. Then he picked up his fork again and took another bite of akara. One day, he agreed quietly. I can try one day. One day became 2. Then 3. Then a week where Kong-soo emerged from his office for breakfast every morning, sitting across from Divine while she cooked and talked about everything and nothing. He didn't say much, but he listened. Really listened. And slowly, incrementally, the ice began to crack. Divine learned things about him in those quiet mornings. He hated sweet coffee but loved sweet bread. He had a scar on his left hand from a childhood accident involving his father's car. He spoke 3 languages fluently but struggled with English idioms. He'd never left Korea except for business trips to Japan and Hong Kong. Never wanted to see the world? Divine asked one morning, mixing batter for pancakes. Seeing the world requires curiosity. I lost that a long time ago. Or maybe you just lost people who made you curious. She poured batter onto the hot pan, watching it sizzle. Tell me something. Before Seo-yeon died, what did you want? What made you happy? Kong-soo was quiet for so long Divine thought he wouldn't answer. Then music. I played piano. Classical mostly. Chopin. Debussy. There's a piano in the corner of the living room. I thought it was just decoration. It was my mother's. My father kept it after she died. I haven't touched it in 3 years. Divine flipped the pancakes. Why not? Because beautiful things die when I touch them. That's not true and you know it. You've touched me plenty of times this week. I'm still here. A ghost of a smile. Give it time. Stop it. Divine turned to face him fully, spatula in hand. Stop waiting for me to die or leave or betray you. I'm not going anywhere for 11 more months. You're stuck with me whether you like it or not. Who says I don't like it? Divine's heart skipped. Do you? I'm here, aren't I? It wasn't a declaration of love. Wasn't even close. But coming from Lee Kong-soo, it felt like a miracle. That afternoon, Divine's phone rang. Chioma video calling from Lagos. Divine answered immediately, and her sister's face filled the screen. She looked better. Not healthy yet, but better. There was color in her cheeks. Sister, Mama is out of surgery. The doctors say it went perfectly. Divine's eyes filled with tears. Can I see her? Chioma flipped the camera. Their mother lay in a hospital bed, eyes closed but breathing steadily. Tubes and monitors surrounded her, but her face was peaceful. She's sleeping, Chioma whispered. But she's alive. She's really alive. Divine, I don't know how you did it, but thank you. Thank you so much. I didn't do it alone. Divine glanced at Kong-soo, who'd emerged from his office at the sound of her voice. My husband helped. Can I meet him? Divine held out the phone. Kong-soo hesitated, then took it awkwardly. Chioma's eyes went wide. Oh wow. Sister didn't mention you were so handsome. Kong-soo's ears turned red. I'm Lee Kong-soo. Your sister is very brave. She's stubborn as what she is. But thank you for helping our family. We owe you everything. You owe me nothing. Take care of your mother. He handed the phone back to Divine quickly, retreating toward his office. But Divine caught the small smile on his face as he walked away. 2 weeks later, Jiwoo burst into the penthouse with news. They'd found Kingsley. Divine was in the kitchen teaching Kong-soo how to properly season a gussie soup when Jiwoo's sharp voice cut through their laughter. Boss, we have a situation. Kong-soo's expression shifted immediately, back to the cold mask Divine hadn't seen in days. What situation? Kingsley Okonkwo. He's in Seoul. Divine dropped the wooden spoon. What? Flew in this morning. He's at the Park Hyatt in Gangnam. Seems he's running from your men in Lagos and thought Korea would be safer. Jiwoo's smile was sharp. He thought wrong. Divine's hands shook. He's here? In Seoul? Should I bring him in? Jiwoo asked Kong-soo. Yes, but don't hurt him. Divine wants this handled legally. Kong-soo looked at her. Unless you've changed your mind? Divine wanted to say yes. Wanted to let Kong-soo's men do whatever they did to people who crossed the Lee family. But she shook her head. No. Legal. But I want to see him. I want to hear him try to explain. Divine. I need this Kong-soo. Please. He studied her face, then nodded. Bring him here. Tonight. Kingsley arrived at 8 p.m., flanked by 2 of Kong-soo's men. He looked smaller than Divine remembered. Scared. His designer clothes were rumpled, his gold chain gone. When he saw Divine, his face crumpled with fake relief. Divine. Baby. Thank God. I've been trying to reach you. These men, they dragged me here. I didn't know what was happening. Stop talking. Divine's voice was ice. Just stop. Baby, you don't understand. The money it got caught up in. I said stop. She walked closer, and Kingsley actually flinched. My sister is 22 years old. She sold her blood to keep our mother alive while you bought cars and threw parties. My mother almost died while you posted on Instagram about your Korean connection. So don't you dare call me baby. Don't you dare pretend you care. Divine, please, I can explain. Explain what? How you stole $250,000. How you lied to me every single day. How you left my family to suffer while you lived like a king. Her voice rose with each question. Explain how the man I loved for 2 years turned out to be nothing but a thief and a liar? Kingsley's mask slipped. His face twisted with something ugly. You want the truth? Fine. You were easy. Naive. So desperate to save your precious mama that you would have signed anything. And that Korean contact was supposed to be a simple scam. Get the money, disappear. But then you actually went through with it. He laughed bitterly. I didn't think you had the guts. So you thought you'd just keep the money? Let my mother die? I thought you'd come running back to me when the contract failed. Thought you'd need me. But instead you're here playing house with some Korean gangster who probably doesn't even see you as human. Kong-soo moved so fast Divine almost missed it. One moment he was across the room. The next, his hand was around Kingsley's throat, lifting him off the ground. Say that again. Kong-soo's voice was deadly quiet. Tell me again how I see my wife. Kong-soo, don't. Divine touched his arm. He disrespected you. And he's not worth it. He's not worth you breaking your promise to me. Kong-soo's jaw worked. Then he dropped Kingsley, who collapsed gasping on the imported rug. You're right. He's not worth it. Kong-soo pulled out his phone. Jiwoo. Contact the Nigerian embassy. We have a criminal who needs extraditing. International fraud. Embezzlement. I'll send you all the documentation. No. Kingsley scrambled to his knees. Please. They'll put me in Kirikiri. I'll die there. You should have thought of that before you stole from her. Kongsu's expression was merciless. Divine wanted this handled legally. So legal it is. 25 years minimum for what you did. Divine, please. We loved each other. You can't let him do this. Divine crouched down until she was eye level with Kingsley. We never loved each other. You loved my desperation. And I loved a fantasy. But I'm awake now. She stood. Take him away. I don't want to see his face again. The men dragged Kingsley out, his protests echoing through the penthouse until the elevator doors closed. Divine stood in the sudden silence, shaking. Kongsu approached carefully. Are you all right? I don't know. I thought I'd feel better. Vindicated or something. But I just feel empty. That's normal. Closure doesn't always feel like victory. Divine turned to him. You called me your wife. When you had Kingsley by the throat, you called me your wife. Kongsu's expression shifted. Uncertain. Vulnerable. I did. Did you mean it? The contract says. I'm not asking what the contract says. I'm asking what you mean. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached out and tucked a lock behind her ear, his fingers lingering against her cheek. You cook for me every morning. You make me laugh. You talk about your mother and your sister in Lagos like I should care, and somehow I do. You're stubborn and brave, and you look at me like I'm not a monster. His thumb traced her jawline. So yes, I meant it. Divine's breath caught. Kongsu, I know the contract says 1 year. No, you'll go back to Lagos when this is over. But right now, in this moment, you're my wife. And I'm your husband. And that means something to me. What does it mean? It means I want to try. To be human again. To let you in even though it terrifies me. He cupped her face in both hands. It means I'm going to kiss you now if you'll let me. Divine's answer was to rise on her toes and close the distance between them. The kiss was soft at first. Tentative. Like neither of them quite believed it was happening. Then Kongsu's hands slid into her locks, and Divine's fingers clutched his shirt, and the kiss deepened into something desperate and real and achingly honest. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Kongsu pressed his forehead to hers. I don't know how to do this, he whispered. Don't know how to love someone without destroying them. Then we'll learn together. 1 day at a time. 1 breakfast at a time. 1 kiss at a time. What if I fail? What if I hurt you? Then you hurt me. And we figure it out. But Kongsu? She pulled back enough to meet his eyes. You need to forgive yourself. For your mother. For Seo Yun. For all the things you think you've done wrong. Because holding on to that guilt is killing you. I don't know if I can. Then let me help you. That's what wives do, right? He smiled. Actually smiled. Is that what the marriage contract says? I don't know. I never read it. Neither did I. They laughed, and the sound filled the empty penthouse with something that felt dangerously close to joy. That night, Divine found Kongsu on the balcony again. But this time, when she joined him, he pulled her close, wrapping his arms around her from behind. They stood like that, watching Seoul glitter below them. And for the first time since arriving in Korea, Divine felt like she was exactly where she belonged. My father orchestrated this whole thing, Kongsu said quietly. The contract. The marriage. He knew Kingsley was a fraud from the beginning. Divine stiffened. What? Jiwoo found the paperwork. My father hired investigators before approving the contract. He knew Kingsley would steal the money. Knew you'd be stranded here. Knew you'd need help. So he used me? Used us both? He gave us a chance. A messy, manipulative, terrible chance. But a chance nonetheless. Kongsu turned her in his arms. I'm not saying I forgive him. But I'm saying maybe something good came from something bad. Divine considered this. So what happens now? We have 11 months left on the contract. We live them. Together. And then he hesitated. And then we decide. If you want to go back to Lagos, I won't stop you. But if you want to stay, his voice dropped. I'd like you to stay. That's a long time from now. Let's focus on today. Today I want to take you somewhere. Where? It's a surprise. But you'll need to dress warm. An hour later, they were in Kongsu's car, driving through Seoul's nighttime streets. He wouldn't tell her where they were going, just kept smiling that small secret smile whenever she asked. They ended up at a 24-hour music store in Hongdae. Kongsu led her past guitars and drums to the piano section. Pick one, he said. What? Pick a piano. Anyone you want. Divine stared at the array of beautiful instruments. Kangsu, I don't play piano. I know, but I do. And I want to play for you. He sat at a gorgeous black grand piano, and his fingers found the keys like coming home. The first notes of Chopin's Nocturne in E-flat major filled the store, achingly beautiful and sad and hopeful all at once. Divine watched his face as he played. Watched the tension drain from his shoulders. Watched him become someone younger and freer and unburdened by ghosts. When the last note faded, he looked up at her with tears in his eyes. I haven't played since she died. Couldn't bear to touch something that beautiful. But tonight I wanted to. For you. Divine crossed to him and kissed him softly. Thank you for letting me in. Thank you for refusing to give up on me. They bought the piano. Had it delivered to the penthouse that night. And in the weeks that followed, Kangsu played for Divine every evening while she cooked, filling their home with music and laughter, and the sound of two broken people learning how to be whole. 6 months into their contract, Divine opened Seoul Bukka, a Nigerian-Korean fusion restaurant in Itaewon. Kangsu funded it. Jiwoo managed the business side. Divine created magic in the kitchen, blending her mother's recipes with Korean ingredients until she had customers lined up around the block. Mama Blessing flew to Seoul for the grand opening, healthy and glowing and crying with pride. She hugged Kangsu, so tight he couldn't breathe. You saved my life, she told him in English she'd been practicing. Now you're family. Forever. Kangsu, who'd faced down rival gangs without flinching, looked completely terrified of this small Nigerian woman's fierce love. Divine had never loved him more. 1 year after Divine arrived in Seoul, the contract expired. They sat on their balcony, the document between them. So Kangsu said, "What do you want to do?" Divine picked up the contract and tore it in half. "I want to stay. Not because a piece of paper says I have to, but because I choose you. Every day. For as long as you'll have me." Kangsu pulled her into his lap and kissed her like she was oxygen, and he'd been drowning. Forever then. I choose forever. They got married again 6 months later. A real wedding this time. Traditional Nigerian ceremony in Lagos with Divine in Iro and Buba, Kangsu sweating in Igbada and loving every minute. Then a Korean ceremony in Seoul with hanbok and bowing and Kangsu's father crying openly about finally getting his son back. At the reception, Divine's restaurant catering the fusion menu, Kangsu stood to make a toast. "I was dead before you," he said simply. "You brought me back to life. And I will spend the rest of mine making sure you never regret it." Divine raised her glass. To new beginnings. To choosing love even when it scares us. And to the best mistake I ever made. Marrying me was a mistake? The best one. They kissed as their guests cheered, 2 continents united in celebration, and somewhere in heaven, Yoon So-yeon smiled, finally at peace knowing the man she loved had found his way back to joy. The video fades on Divine and Kangsu dancing. Lagos meets Seoul. Darkness transformed to light. 2 broken people made whole. If this story touched your heart, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling us what you felt. Share this with someone who needs to believe in second chances. And remember, sometimes the wrong plane takes you to exactly the right destination. Part 2 coming soon, where Divine and Kangsu face their biggest challenge yet when ghosts from the past threaten everything they've built. You won't want to miss it.